Hi, it's my pleasure once again to welcome you to yet another exciting episode of your ultimate news and current affairs show, The Pulse, proudly brought to you by Rovatel Media. I am Joshua Carter. Today we'll be looking at the insecurity festering the nation with special respect to the abduction that recently took place in Oyo State, where about no fewer than 50 persons, which includes students or pupils and teachers from a school known as the Baptist Nursery and Primary School in Oriri, somewhere in local government area in Oyo State. And of course, the abduction has lasted for about 25 days with no hope in sight. So we'll be looking at the insecurity, as I said, going on right there in Oyo State. We'll also be looking at the rescue plan by government. Of course, the information available is that it has stalled due to tough terrain amidst fear, especially in that area. We'll also be looking at the trust from the part of the people on government, especially when it comes to how much they can be able to do to rescue these students and not only bringing them back home safely to reunite with their families, but of course to bring an end, as it were, to the insecurity festering the nation, in particular Oyo State. And to have this conversation this morning with me, I'm being joined by my guest in the person of Mr. Jide Ologun, who is not just a legal practitioner, but of course a superintendent of police who is on hand to give us an insightful analysis on this matter. Upon once again, I thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.
All right, talking about the insecurity in the country, before long we were looking at it from the northeast, but right about now it is here with us in the south. Now, looking at the situation surrounding the abduction of pupils and teachers of that particular school, the Baptist Nursery Primary School in Oyo State, how were you greeted with this news?
I wasn't surprised because there were warnings ahead of the ugly incidents that the southwestern leaders should be more sensitive to the need for security. I listened to Liba and Adams, the leader of the APC. I listened to Igboho. And there was a time the Southwest governors met to consider the threat of insecurity when it started flowing from the core north to north central, because Para now claims to be part of the north. And then the elders have a saying that to be forewarned is to be forearmed. So why we were forewarned but not forearmed is a question I cannot answer. So as a security personnel, it wasn't a surprise to me. So it's quite disturbing considering the plight of the victims, young ones, and the ugly, manifestations that the kidnappers carried out and rolled out to the town, beheading the teacher and even killing in the process of kidnapping. And as well for the mode of operation, the same, in the dimensional way of kidnapping on motorcycles and things like that. And I think if we have learned at all and if we have become serious about securing lives and properties, we should have been able to dynamically engage this situation so that the style these kidnappers have been using by now should no longer be foolproof. Let's say we are, we've spoken about the engagement of drones. We've spoken about there are several devices across the world now that it could have invested in. In Burkina Faso, the head of state there, it's under a military regime, deploys drones to hit the bandits. So you just see fireworks from the sky, and they've reduced soldiers' engagement to about 20%. Here we are in Nigeria, very ugly situation. U.S. soldiers are slaughtered. I read in the last 1 week or so, at least not less than 12 soldiers would have been murdered, about 8 of them decapitated. I mean, that sends the signal to the government that there is a perception of having a lame government that is perceived to be at the mercy of bandits. What is the dictionary meaning of bandit? So those who are operating in a lawless environment. So are we now saying Nigeria has become a lawless environment? That's why, should I say I'm happy or, and I'm just a bit happy that the National Assembly is now inviting the National Security Advisor, inviting the Southeast chiefs, to come and explain why we are in this state. And we have been telling them. Section 4 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended says that the National Assembly, and by extension the House of Assembly at the state level, but they are mandated to make laws for the peace, orderliness, and good government in Nigeria. We don't just make these laws, you also need to exercise your oversight function to ensure that the executive arms delivers on the laws you have made. And Section 14 subsection 2 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended states clearly that the security and the welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government.
Now, so pause for a while.
Do we have any mechanism to make government focus on that primary purpose?
Just a moment, because you talked about some very, very salient issue about the security and lives of people is the paramount in responsibility of government. As someone who is a chief superintendent of police, how does it feel like when adequate information were given as regards the invasion of these guys and nothing was done about it?
It is the system we operate, and it's hydra-headed. When you talk about human resource management, we talk about motivation. We can look at the Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And so the personnel that you even empower to go and secure the land, are they fully equipped to carry out the service? Financially, psychologically, in terms of training, in terms of equipment. These are questions we should be asking. And now we have a constitutional error in Nigeria where the internal security architecture has been migrated to the military. It's a huge error. It is the responsibility of the police to handle internal security. The military is to engage the protection of our territorial sovereignty. But you can see what is happening. And even the military, once reputed as excellent in the days of ECOMOG and the exploits we have carried out, are now subject to people wondering that if the military, if the soldiers are treated as this, what is the fate of civilians? As we speak now, one of our top colleagues in public relations, General Rabi Abubakar, retired, who was a spokesperson of the military, is in the captivity or kidnapped. He was kidnapped with his wife in Katsina State. See, it's disturbing. And we are pleading with this government that it is your responsibility to secure lives and properties of the citizens. I was on a TV show like this, and we came up with this issue of security is everyone's business. It is rhetoric in nature. I just cited the Constitution, Section 14 subsection 2. It says that the security and the welfare of the citizens shall be the primary purpose of government, not of Gideon or of Joshua. Yes, we know we need to collaborate and everything. And I pushed my submission score. That fine. If it has now become the business of everybody, the security vote that the governor of state, that presidency gets, maybe at the local government level, unaccounted for, I bring it. Bring my own portion. So that all of us will enter the bush and go and confront the bandits. Some governors get as much as 84 billion naira annually on security votes. And we have 36 states. So there are questions. Yes, the citizens can collaborate. They give information. And the culture we have is such that right now we have a huge distrust. We call it age of distrust, where you can go and report a suspect and you yourself, you become the victim. So we have a lot to deal with.
All right. Now,
Serious issues.
Now, let's look at an indicting statement by the principal of one of those community schools that were affected. I'm talking about a lady called Mrs. Rachel Alamo, who said in a leading voice, an emotional leading voice, that Nigerians, she called on Nigerians not to be deceived by governments, indicating that these bandits actually requested that Sharia law be enshrined in our constitution as a basis for the release. What's your take on this?
Sharia law has taken a prominent feature in our constitution, except you don't want to lead it. But that's not my discussion on this one. Let's go to Sharia law. I'm interested in it. It's not a pretense. Even if it's not part of the demand of this group of kidnappers. When Mohammed Yusuf rose up around 2002 and started Boko Haram means book is forbidden. You couldn't even spell book very well, unfortunately. That Western education is corruption, should be resisted. One of the pivotal intentions is to establish an Islamic state in Nigeria. It's in jihadist movement. So this man started indoctrinations of young ones, Nigerians, and foreign countries nearby. And in 2009, he was taken about the government. But the movement was already built. So it escalated. So it has now grown through the Islamic states of West Africa, and the splinter group, under Abamawi. At a time, we were chasing this man, Shekau, that was killed several times. Now ISIS is involved.
Not even
Donald Trump, all the way from the US. If I'm flying from Lagos to New York City, it's a direct flight. It's about 13 hours. So Donald Trump is now coming to fight ISIS in Nigeria. In fact, recently he killed the second in command, Al-Manuki. We see, and about 100 of them. Some reporters reported about 200 of them. We see. And now, still on this Sharia. Yes. Let's go back to 1805, when, with Madame Fodio, invaded Sokoto and established the Sokoto Caliphate and proceeded to Ilorin. And now you have an emirate. That is why the king is emir of Ilorin. So many people were wondering the sudden invasion of Ilorin in a situation where about 33 kings played their fallacies. They read about it. And so it's a movement. Now, let's proceed in history. In 1989, there was this Abuja Declaration when OIC, this Islamic cooperation, came together in Abuja, seeking to push the frontiers of Islam, and part of it was to establish Sharia in Muslim communities, blah, 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 and to establish Islamization in Africa, organization or something, which was eventually established in 1991 to push the Islamic agenda in Africa. And in 1999, while some were busy pursuing democracy, this agenda was ignited. You recall about 12 states in the north started pushing for Sharia. And recently, you must have read that they are pushing for Sharia in Oyo State.
It's coming down to south.
Yeah, so you cannot rule that out. I have no problem with Sharia. If you ask me if Sharia is effective, then let's deploy Sharia. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so if
Not be
Sharia
selective.
has been implemented, I think by now we should not even be talking about terrorists. So there is an agenda to overrun this country. Whether the government agrees with me or not, there was a conference recently in Nigeria, Senegal, Mali, Niger, talking about counter-terrorism. In 2011, Muhammadu Buhari, then general, retired, pursuing presidency ambition, said that if he did not win the 2015 election, we will sow dogs and baboons in globe.
Why they contradict a very controversial statement?
I'm not here for controversy. You see, we talk about content analysis.
Yeah.
It's documented. You see, if you like, try to manipulate, and the symptoms will tell you. And now, a top-line politician confessed that they brought in bandits from the Sahel region. Let me tell you the mindset of this bandit. By virtue of their indoctrination, they believe that Allah has given them the land of Nigeria, that Nigeria should be the headquarters of Islam. I'm bringing a research report here, you know, and so for some of them it's not opposition or whatever.
All right.
And you say, when you hear about internally displaced people, what does it mean? People are dislodged from their natural habitat, and we call it IOA in the social science of terrorism. You invade, you occupy, you advance. Go and do your findings. How many communities have not been deserted in Benue State, in Plateau State,
All right.
in Kwara State?
Now you've spoken extensively on the issue of the Sharia law. Now let's look at a case of contrast here, especially that of the former Minister of Power in the person of Bayo Adelabu, whose biological sister, had a set of twins that were kidnapped on June 3. And by 6th of June, which is a 3-day interval, they were released. Now, talking about these pupils and teachers that have been in captivity for about 25 days now, is it a case of some are more Nigerian than the other?
Absolutely. How else do you want me to answer?
Say that again.
Absolutely. We've said that. I've said it years ago. Maybe in one of our interviews, with you interviewing me. But the high and mighty they have little problems. I mean, within the human community, maybe when they get to both.
So are you saying that the rescue plan differ from person to person?
Now, let's go professional. In the security community, you hear things like, oh, urban kidnapping is different from forest kidnapping. If you engage kinetic in the forest, you wipe out all those children you want to. So you use non-kinetic, you negotiate this one and that. Those are theories. And that's why I pity the people. A wise man said, you don't get what you deserve in life, you get what you negotiate. I've been also in the security architecture. The elites are overprotected. The citizens are unprotected, if I want to be extreme. I met a senator in a social function years ago. He had 8 mobile police officers escorting him around. And there are 109 senators in Nigeria, 360 House of Reps members. And I think you have about 44 ministers, federal ministers. You know, and that is why when the former Inspector General of Police said he was withdrawing
We've always heard statements like that.
Where is it today? Where's the IG today? Was that order, was it implemented? You see, so that is, we were discussing some days ago on a TV, international TV, about 110 billion naira for the purchase of SUVs for legislators and their support allowance. Armored SUV. See, in HR, and I say this respectfully, the senator is not my employee. I'm his employee. I'm her employee. They came applying through the ballot. And we employed them with our votes, or those who earn the votes. So they are expected to go there and serve us.
Not the other way around.
Exactly. So why are you now in armored vehicles? Why are we exposed to risk and you are running from risk? I don't understand it. Jesus Christ did not run from any risk.
No,
He went all the way to the cross. Now, sacrifice.
Let's look at the rescue plan. As a chief superintendent of police, do you as a person trust, or as Nigerians trust, the rescue plan by government, especially given the fact that information has it that the rescue plan is stalled owing to tough terrain? So can it actually be true that the governments are having a bad day accessing where those kids are?
I trust the government in terms of capacity. And I should trust the government in terms of ability. And in law,
A politician once said capacity didn't do.
it's different from, there's capacity. I'm going there now.
Okay.
In law,
Okay.
you strengthen your case with precedent.
Okay.
That, oh, this happened in 1979, so let's apply it now. Recently, towards the independence celebration in Nigeria,
Yeah.
October 2025,
Yeah.
a coup was planned in Nigeria, and intelligence discovered that plan ahead, foiled it, and rounded up the culprits, except for those who were abroad. In Benin Republic, there was a coup plan from Asogila. My president, Jagaban, stopped that coup plan in Benin Republic. And we are saying there's no capacity. There's capacity.
So my question back to you is, are there more people in the society that are more Nigerians than the others? That's what I'm asking.
Please don't ask me that question.
Because
again.
you are
Don't-
saying there
no,
is
no, no,
capacity.
no, no.
So why is it?
You know
why is it
the answer
different?
now.
No, I'm asking you. I shouldn't be the one to provide the
And
answer.
someone is riding in armored SUV, and somebody is jumping from one bus to the other. And if these things are clear now, you should, I address the populace, electorates in particular. Why should someone be rolling out billions of naira, borrowing money everywhere, pushing us into slavery, mortgaging the future?
Who are you referring to,
And
please?
leadership.
Okay.
And they come to you to vote for them, and they give you 5 kg of rice, and you are joking. What level of ignorance? They give you 10,000 naira. How much is 10,000 naira? A young man was saying that you can feed in 1 week with 10,000 naira. Let him come and take me to that buka. They just talk anyhow. And the citizens don't know what. I just made a statement here now. Please tell the government. We are their employers. They are not doing us any favor. Let me blow our minds. I love Nigeria. I love my president. I love everyone. But please, I am not comfortable with the system of government in Nigeria. It's a slavery government. And quote me, Abolaji Abolawo.
Glad to have you back. And of course, it's still the pulse And we've got our guest here still talking about the abduction going on in Oyo State and, of course, the insecurity at large. And that brings me to my next question, which is the issue of schools not being safe. And parents are really reluctant sending their children to school for fear of not returning back.
After the Chibok girl kidnapping, that she kidnapped, there was this safe school initiative. I was prompted, and good amount of money are burned to that. What happened to them? Corruption. You see, so if we can decimate greed in Nigeria, the glory of this nation will shine. And who are those behind this evil? So it's you've heard of installing a CCTV. Where are the CCTVs? Thank God that recently, former Minister of Power has been jailed for 75 years for embezzling money meant for the Mambila and Zungeru hydro power projects.
Adelabu?
Mama, no. Mama, not Adelabu. So that is it. Safe schools initiatives. And in fact, at a time, Nasir El-Rufai, as governor of Kaduna State, was playing a PR optic stunt. He renovated the school, public school, and put his children there. He withdrew those children. So the insecurity in Nigeria is deep-rooted with several dimensions. Igboho said it. I watched the video. It's not AI generated. That they know the people behind all this kidnapping. And the government should invite him now to come and disclose. Have you seen it? El-Rufai himself said that he went after the Fulanis to pay them not to embark on reprisal attacks. Sheikh Gumi went to their enclave, took photographs with them with sophisticated weapons. Mamu, who is now being rearranged, who was, I think, arrested all the way in Egypt, negotiator when the Kaduna-Abuja train was attacked. They know the government should, I don't want to say they know. The government, if the government does not know, then we should question what kind of government we have. TSS is there. We have about 40 law enforcement agencies in this country. This is all.
So my question right now is it that democracy has not really been the solution to our problem? Hence, we'll go back to regionalizing.
Democracy cannot be a solution to your problem.
So what then could it be?
Before democracy, there was a system of governing. Good governance is the solution. Now, you've mentioned democracy. What is democracy? Democracy has its roots in the Greek community. And it's in the word democratio. The demo there means the common people. The kratio means power. Yeah. So the power of the common people given to some to run the government. That is why Abraham Lincoln said it's the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And that is why I also said it's like an employer-employee situation. The electorates are the employers, and they employ those who will go and represent them. But do we still practice democracy? And the essence of democracy is to enhance the fortune of the people. But what do we have? If you read Section 16 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended, it says that our resources should be harnessed in a way that we have a self-reliant and dynamic economy, and that wealth and the means of creating wealth is not concentrated in the hands of a few, that maximum happiness and welfare are provided for all citizens. And subsection 2D says affordable and available food, affordable and available housing, reasonable national minimum living wage, unemployment benefits, pensions, care for the old, and the disabled are provided for all citizens. And the same constitution says that sovereignty belongs to the people, from whom the government derives authority. And so my question to you now is that, assuming you are in the Harvard Business School or the School of Politics, and they ask you to describe what is manifesting in Nigeria, even in an objective set of questions, will you qualify it as democracy, where about 65 to 68% of the citizens are poor? Or you want to contest that? It's not been denied, you see, where about 18 million children are out of school, where right now Boko Haram appears to be winning, even though the government has threatened that they will overrun them, because many schools are shut. In fact, in the north now, education has been relegated to the background. It's even in the south that people are struggling to still get education. So we need to sit up. You see, so these are issues of our time.
So we do not have anything called good governance from what you're saying. So what is the way forward? Is it changing our style of governance, or better still, change our rescue plan from something else, maybe a new strategy, if this that we have is not working? What do you think?
It depends on what you want. If you want what the United Nations has qualified as sustainable development, by which the Sustainable Development Goals, about 18 of them were rolled out, activated in 2015 to be evaluated in 2030, otherwise called the 2030 Agenda, then you focus on the fundamentals. Zero tolerance for hunger, for poverty, creating a decent environment, and all those things, you know, so that you can now end up like Singapore, that left Malaysia in 1965 and decided to embark on sustainable development, and is now one of the best countries to live and work in the world. But if it's just about rescuing those who are kidnapped and palliative attention, then you can just go ahead. So we need a new governance mindset and structure that will be built on righteousness. The word of God says righteousness exalts a nation, and sin is a reproach to a people. You know, we have records. Are you aware that between 2023 and 2024, the total ransom collected in Nigeria was about 2.2 trillion naira? Ransom. So we now have a ransom economy. Do you know that some people supply those bandits fuel? You don't know. They run their own government in the bush. I read a report in Niger State, Nigeria, a police officer who committed suicide. What led to the suicide? He was in charge of the police armory, and he was selling the weapon to these criminals. And when investigation started and he saw that investigation was closing on, he took his own life. So we need a foolproof system. And how can we build this system? Let's have equitable distribution of wealth. I've said it here, and you've asked it in your question. A society where the gap between the rich and the poor is so wide, and it has appeared that those who are on the other side do not even see those who are here. They cannot listen to them. You know, in fact, they refer to them as whalers. They refer to them as opposition. And I have challenged this government. I love my president. I love everyone in this country, you know, by virtue of God's mandate. My president is a veteran in opposition from the days of Nadeko.
So what's that?
He is the arrowhead of the opposition that gave birth to APC.
So what suddenly changed?
I don't know. That is why some of us are concerned.
Now, if this
and
situation...
when we push this on, we say the people surrounding him. You should have a vision.
So
and if the people surrounding you are distracting you,
yes,
you refocus. If they are not going to allow you, you push them out. Because at the end of the day, the experiences under you will be documented under you. Will be documented under you.
The president is the figurehead. Now you will say, under Buhari. All I've been saying here now, under Buhari, under Buhari. Have I mentioned under Oshibajo? No. Oshibajo was vice president. Will I say when under 1 minute? So, I mean, let's get it right. I want my president to be the best president I ever managed this country. And it's up to him.
My question now is, public trust is lost as it stands. Now, if this situation goes unabated for the next few weeks, are we likely to see a situation where those at the helm of affairs, I mean, those in security command chain, can they be held accountable?
It's up to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That's why he's the president. He has changed service chiefs.
Okay.
And then the National Assembly, I told you, the National Assembly has invited NSA, Nuhu Ribadu, invited the service chiefs.
To what end?
It's up to them. You see, our own role is what we are doing now.
So as we wrap up on the conversation now, what is your word, what you're parting with to Bola Tinubu, who is the chief commander of the armed forces?
My amiable president, I love you, sir. And you are presiding over Nigeria for now by the special grace of God. And I wish you the best. And so exercise your executive power to ensure that at the primary level, there's a huge success that will empower the success of all the reforms and everything, which is the security and the welfare of the citizens. If the people are not secure, they lose that sense of belonging. And if the people are hungry, going through hardship, and the welfare is not solidly available, they also begin to question your authority, particularly when they cannot compare notes that, okay, we are all in this together. And they say some people are enjoying, and some people, like Fela's sign, suffering and smiling. And so I wish my president the best. I love him so much. But please, democracy is the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. It's not the government of politicians, by the politicians, and for the politicians. That, on its own, is politocracy.
Thank you so much for your exhaustive explanation to this issue, Mr. Jide Ologun. And we've been speaking with Mr. Jide Ologun, who is not just a legal practitioner, but of course a chief superintendent of police, who has been giving us his thoughts on the issue of insecurity festering the nation, and particularly in Oyo State. That's the much we have for you today on the show this morning on The Pulse. You stick with us same time next week for yet another exciting edition, of course, with yet a different guest. Till we meet again, my name is Joshua Kapsa. See you next. Bye for now.